Hello and welcome to my dye studio. Over the past couple of years I haven't been able to dye yarn as much as I would have liked. I've been doing some wholesale work in the background and I've had like sporadic little shop updates here and there, but my shop now has been on holiday for a year, so I need to change that. But before I dye up a whole new collection of yarn, I need to deal with the studio itself. It's become a bit of a dumping ground since it's not been getting used. And this is also where the garden supplies get stored, which adds a whole other level of problem. So I thought it might be fun to bring you along with me whilst I go through this process. And I might make a little mini-series of the whole process. So this will be part one of reopening my dye studio. I don't really know where to start, but I'm just going to kind of go with the easiest stuff. So I've got all of this alpaca fleece here, which I'm going to just stuff it up in this corner here so it's kind of out of the way, but obviously this yarn needs to move first. But the plastic bags these were stored in have actually started to degrade, so I'm going to just stuff them in a bag for the time being. I don't really have time to deal with this right now. The main shelf of my shelving unit has become the biggest dumping ground. It's a shelf that I use for my coffee maker, but also has my label printer, and it's just too accessible, and I just throw everything on it and just leave it. I realised that I spilled water on the shelf itself, which is MDF and super absorbent. So I decided I would just take everything off and cover the shelf itself with the self-adhesive like drawer liner. I use it as a backdrop for photos usually, but it's a little bit more water resistant. Oh, I didn't know that I had all of this stuff here. There's loads of fibre and yarn. Yeah, didn't know any of this was here. Oh. Oh. Okay, I have stock. I didn't realise I had stock. So I had no idea that I had any of this yarn. Like, this is a whole box just of self-striping. I did not know that this was here, and it's, you know, it must be a good few years old because the ball band is actually an old design. This is what I've been using more recently. So yeah, there's quite a lot here. You know, I've got like full 100 gram skeins of self-striping, but I have these little 50 gram ones as well. Didn't know that any of these were here. That's good to know. So I need to do something with all of this. This is just the IKEA Skadis pegboard. As you can see, it's mostly empty, but everything is towered on top. All of the shelving and all of the little bits and pieces, they are all 3D printed, and then my 3D printer broke. But I think I have a fix for my 3D printer, but yeah, that's going to take a little bit of time to install and then a little bit of time to actually print the things that I need. Because yeah, this one is just serving absolutely no purpose, but that's not the vision going forward. So I've pulled out all of the undyed yarn that I have available, and it's not a huge amount, but I've got kind of enough to get me started. I've got 2 full cones of my sock base, and then I've got a bunch of kind of partial ones. I think there is enough for full 100 gram skeins off of these ones, but these I'm definitely going to have to measure. I'm going to have to weigh them and see how much yarn is actually on the cones. And then I've got 2.5 packs of 10 skeins of my sock base. So yeah, not a huge amount, but enough to get me started. So it's taken a lot longer than I intended, but I'm at a level that I'm quite happy with the studio. It's not perfect, but it's workable. So it still definitely looks chaotic, but there just is, yeah, like, you know, all the whole ground space is cleared, which will just make, you know, moving around in here a lot easier. So I've kind of tidied this corner up a little bit. Yeah, this is kind of the best I could do with like the garden stuff. On top of my shelves is a disaster, but it's like pizza oven, fairy lights, and just like miscellaneous garden things. I thought it was best to just get them up and out the way. Over here I've got my coffee station, and then I've got my label printer, my labels and ball bands and stuff. On this level, this is just like mailer bags and tissue paper. I believe I've got some stickers here as well. Yeah, there we go. I've got my little logo stickers. And then in the corner, we've got a whole bunch of alpaca, but there's also a whole bunch of alpaca down here, and some miscellaneous things. Yeah, I've got my warping mill and the little spool that I use as a stand. The wire spool that actually got left in my garden after I got the electrics for the studio put in, and I just kind of fell in love with it. I just thought it was really cute, and it seemed a shame to not keep it. And it actually turns out to be the perfect height to have the warping mill on when I'm warping sitting on this chair. Just, yeah, weirdly perfect. Usually this lives in that corner, which is why there's this gap between the shelving and the wall. It was so I could fit that in, but yeah, the alpaca really needs to just be out of my way currently, so that'll do for the time being. This corner is a disaster, but it's quasi-functional. This is my reskeiner. So this comes out quite a lot, so I do need to keep it kind of assembled and accessible. Yeah, and I've got a bag of yarns I dyed up in December that I never really done anything with. And then I've got my loom mounted on the wall and a bag of like loom accessories like shuttles and stuff like that. Then over here, oh, I forgot I made a cup of chai latte. Yeah, I've just got like my kettle. That's a little Wi-Fi hub thing. This heater, it looks filthy. It isn't. It's just really, really old. This was actually my mother's grandmother's electric heater, and she died way before I was born. So this thing is really, really old, but it's actually an amazing heater and it isn't crazy expensive to run either. Just got my induction hob. This disaster zone is ongoing. I cannot get my 3D printer to work, and I've spent a lot of time and a lot of money buying parts for it, and I'm not really getting anywhere with that. Excuse me if you can hear that background noise. My dog is outside the studio. This is just like a bunch of equipment, measuring jugs and stuff. These will eventually go on here once I can get new shelves either printed or purchased. The storage down here is a bit of a mess. The bottom is kind of stuff I don't use that often. I've got my drum carder down there, and then some like display equipment that I use at festivals, which I don't plan on doing any festivals in the immediate future, but they are handy to have should I ever do them again. Just got some stock over in this corner, and this is these little blue crates of miscellaneous stuff. And this is kind of one of my most prized possessions. This is a skein winder. This, honestly, is such a simple machine, but it has been such a game changer for my business. These are actually some like exercise resistance bands. I'm leaving them where they are just because I have injured my knee in the past and it does flare up every now and then. So that's actually just a really convenient location to have them, because it means I can stand and do exercises, but it also means I can do my work and stuff as well. Then over here, I've just got some dye stuff on the top of this shelf that will probably live up here eventually. And then this is like miscellaneous tools, like my drill and batteries and stuff like that are all down there. As I said, it's not perfect, but having just all of this space in the middle and everything kind of tucked away just makes the space a lot more usable. I'm really happy that I've kind of finally sorted my studio out, but it was a little bit emotional kind of going through it all, just because I've so much wanted this space and I've spent so much time and money having this place built and like furnishing it and all the different ideas on how I can make this space work for me. So it was a little bit sad kind of seeing just how neglected it had become and how I hadn't really respected the space that I was just so excited to build. But it's in a better position now, and I'm excited to get back to work and dyeing up some new yarn. But I'm terrified. I'm genuinely scared about getting back into dyeing yarn, because it has been a while since I've kind of been running an active business. And it's just, my main concern is that I come back and people aren't interested anymore. And then I've kind of spent all these years and all this money on trying to kind of set myself up to run this business. And that I'm just going to fall flat on my face. And I'm nervous as hell about it, but I'm just going to keep going ahead and just hope that there's people out there that are interested in what I'm going to be producing. Because I don't have any other option at this point. But my plan for the rest of today is with the stock that I found. I knew that I did have stock, but I just didn't realise how much stock I had sitting in these boxes. I'm going to photograph them and get them listed on my Etsy page at a reduced rate. And it's old stock. It's not as if yarn goes out of date, but it's old recipes as well. And I'm not necessarily going to keep the same recipes that I did before. Some of those colourways are going to be coming back, but I'm not necessarily going to dye them in the same way. Things have changed. I've changed. I've learned more about dyeing yarn since I first dyed these colourways. And I'm going to kind of use this as an opportunity to kind of do a reset of my business and kind of start again. And then with the proceeds of the sale items, that'll give me a little bit of money to invest in getting some new undyed yarn for the studio. And I'm definitely going to be looking into getting some different bases. I kind of got stuck with the merino nylon. I used to have a few different bases, and then I kind of pulled everything back just to simplify. And then I kind of just got stuck there. I never really, started delving into other bases. So I'm going to consider getting some new bases. If there are any bases that you'd be interested in me carrying, let me know. Like, what are your favourite fibres? What are your favourite weights? I've kind of only ever dyed 4-ply. I did actually used to have a DK base, but that's not been for some years now. But let me know what sort of yarn you like to purchase, because that's definitely going to be beneficial for me to know what people are using. But yeah, I'm going to leave this video here for now. But in the next video, I'm going to be starting actually dyeing yarn for my yarn studio, which is exciting. So thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you join in for the next video. See you next time.